Tony Khan has beef with Fox News. Also, AEW paying one of their injured stars tells you a lot about AEW on the back end of things. But also, most importantly, the Young Bucks and AEW are teasing the debut, the arrival of Jeff Hardy. We're going to talk about it all in today's video. If you guys want more news videos, more pro wrestling content, this is the channel to subscribe to. So I definitely look forward to your subscription. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. So we're going to talk about Dante Martin's brother, Darius Martin. Unfortunately, that's how people are starting to remember him. But for those who don't know, Top Flight is one of the young, exciting tag teams in the AEW tag team division. Unfortunately, Dante Martin's kind of been riding solo lately because of I believe it was a torn ACL, if I remember correctly. But nonetheless, Darius Martin has actually been sidelined due to injury. And, you know, it's unfortunate. The guy's obviously very talented. But what's really interesting here is that AEW has actually still been paying him despite not actually being used. Now, this is great news. Probably one of the reasons why somebody might actually enjoy AEW, because when they first came out and announced that they were going to be a promotion, they said they would be a lot better in that regard. Obviously, they're staying true to that word. But of course, with Darius Martin being injured and being paid, you know, to essentially do nothing, it obviously does come at a cost for AEW. I don't know what his contract is like or anything like that, but it is obviously a good thing for AEW to do that, which it's one of these things I did want to bring it up. I'm very curious to see what happens when Darius Martin returns from injury, because right now Dante Martin's been given such a big emphasis as a single star. I really don't know what kind of plans AEW would have moving forward, but that is something important to look into because, you know, AEW is not reportedly releasing people. AEW in this situation is, you know, they're essentially doing the opposite of WWE. And when a contract gets expired, they're basically just not re-signing people. I obviously don't want to see that to happen to Darius Martin, but I'm not sure if Darius Martin would have as much single success as Dante Martin. Truth be told, we're still trying to learn whether or not Dante Martin will have single success on his own. So it's going to be very interesting to see, but it is some really good stuff happening in AEW's backstage environment, which is why it's so shocking, because this next story here, I think, is something that a lot of people are kind of against. Guys, if you're not familiar with Tony Khan's Twitter activity, he loves talking about ratings. It's something that he does pretty often. Just a couple tweets in a row. I mean, he's taking shots at Fox News because Fox News did a report basically on his father, the Jaguars, and AEW. They released this article talking about AEW's slowness in terms of like ratings, and they're obviously being decreased. So Tony Khan took some shots at Fox News because he is obviously beating Fox News on Wednesday nights. Nonetheless, I don't really care. You know, I've always been the one to say like the rating talk isn't interesting to me. I mean, he could obviously do whatever the hell he wants, but is this a turnoff for you? You know, because the biggest thing I look at here is like I see something great, right? Like Tony Khan paying Darius Martin to basically do nothing while he's healing from injury. That's fantastic news. Like, that's great stuff. But then I see this guy constantly like bashing WWE, or now he's bashing Fox News. And it's not just whether it's WWE or Fox News, but, you know, if he's bashing all these other competitors or all these other entities, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, is it a distraction? You know what I mean? Like, is it a distraction for him and his business? Because I think AEW is really good. And I don't mind when you take some petty shots here and there, but also at the same time too, it's like I've heard some people tell me that this type of stuff from Tony Khan is what makes them not like Tony Khan, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Yeah, do I think it's a little annoying? Yeah, it's really not for me. But at the end of the day, I know that comes with the territory of following Tony Khan on Twitter, so that's why I mention this. For me personally, you know, the way I look at it is like ultimately at the end of the day, if Tony Khan is going to be outspoken about ratings and success and all these things, you just got to make sure your product is good. You know, we don't see WWE talking a lot right now. We don't see Vince talking a lot about their business right now. He's not on Twitter like Tony Khan. But ultimately, if Vince McMahon was doing that, I would probably feel the same way, because WWE is not the most intriguing product right now. Both shows have a little bit of good and a little bit of bad. But, you know, I just thought it was funny. Tony Khan going after Fox News. Pretty clear that nobody is safe. If you're going to talk shit about AEW or the Jaguars, Tony Khan is going to defend himself. And for that, I do respect it. But I'm curious, are you guys on the side that maybe Tony Khan should just be quiet? Do you guys think Tony Khan should continue being outspoken? Is it a turnoff for you? I'm very curious to hear this. I check Discord all the time, and everybody's kind of like 50-50 on it for the most part. Final story of the day, guys. I do want to talk a little bit about Jeff Hardy. Some very interesting stuff happening with Jeff Hardy. As you guys know, Jeff Hardy was released by the WWE. He does, in fact, have a 90-day non-compete clause, which is very important because he can't technically debut right now. But the Young Bucks did put on their Twitter bio Nero, which is obviously teasing Brother Nero. But most importantly, they also changed their Twitter banner to a photo of Jeff Hardy. Now, of course, Matt Hardy's been very outspoken and saying that Jeff Hardy is clean and there was some sort of misunderstanding or whatever. But right now, as it stands, like, we don't really know what's happening with Jeff Hardy. Now, you got two sides of the spectrum. You got Eric Bischoff, who basically is telling Jeff Hardy to get away from the business. And then you got Jim Ross, who is saying, like, no, he should come to AEW, that type of thing. Obviously, with the Young Bucks teasing Jeff Hardy, one has to wonder what's going to happen there. Do we see the Hardy Boys versus the Young Bucks? Do we see the Hardy Boys versus, Red Dragon, if Kyle O'Reilly shows up? Do we see these big tag team matches? Does Jeff Hardy go singles? Does Matt Hardy go singles? Do we get Broken Matt, Broken Jeff, right? Do we get that type of storyline where they're now more in character? Are we getting Team Extreme? Obviously there's been a lot of tweets and a lot of Twitter activity from people in AEW teasing this. I am very concerned that if Jeff Hardy, whatever happened with Jeff Hardy in WWE, if it is in fact true, if it is in fact a problem, I am concerned about AEW signing him. But if Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy are right in the sense that, he's not having any problems, everything is good, like WWE jumped the gun, if that's the case, then you know what, guys, if that's really the case, then hey, sign him, do a retirement run, and then just call it a day. Because at the end of the day, AEW signing too many people, it's going to get overcrowded. And I get it. People want to use the justification of maybe some people getting released and some people, not staying around after their contracts expire. But my whole belief is this, and I really want to be firm on this. AEW needs to make sure their signings are doing something for them business-wise, okay? Right now, ratings are just kind of up and down. They're up and down, and that is what it is. But when it comes to overall business, are they making more money because they acquired this talent? Like bringing in CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, it was very big for AEW business-wise, especially CM Punk coming into AEW. Ratings are a little bit weird, but when you look at like business transactions and advertising and all this stuff, it was reportedly a very, very big deal for AEW. So obviously merchandise too. I'm very curious to see what happens, man. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section. As always, tons of big news in pro wrestling. Do you guys think Jeff Hardy is headed to AEW? I'm gonna be following this story. I'll let you guys know as I learn more. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time right here on youtube.com/AngleYT. Peace.